What could you do to protect your pets if you're sick or injured? My product, Save My Pet ID tag, helps you ensure that your beloved pets are safe and well cared for, even when life isn't what you expect.
Disasters can strike any of us at any time, anywhere. Case in point, the devastating wildfires in Southern California. So let me ask you, are you prepared? Do you have an evacuation plan for you and your pets? Well, our special guest today is here to share some tips that just may keep you and your pet safe. Please welcome to our show. She is a board-certified emergency medical veterinarian from the team of Just Answer. She is Dr. Katie Mercatoris. Welcome to our show, Dr. Katie.
Oh, hi, Arden. Thank you for having me this morning.
It's scary because I lived in Oceanside, California for 15 years, moved to Texas, which has its share of disasters, but I have friends, neighborhoods wiped out, and all of a sudden, some people just freeze. When you're faced with something tremendous and you're in ER, you could just freeze, you could just fidget, or you could flee, right? And it's kind of scary. So people are curious as a cat. And the reason I say that is because our guest has not one, but two gorgeous Maine Coons. I know they're listening. They have hearing that none of us could ever have. What are their names?
Oliver and Lily.
Oliver and Lily. They want you to help. Yes, even DOGs. How big are Oliver and Lily?
Well, in their prime, Oliver was probably close to 20 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
15, but they're almost 16 years old. So they've lost a little weight, but they are still spry. And I actually had to go feed them so that they wouldn't be screaming at the door. So I hope they can be distracted for a little bit.
Well, if people want to get a little background before we dive in about some safety, you're based in Madison, Wisconsin?
That's correct.
And you're thinking, I'm in a bubble, right? Nothing could happen here. No, come on. Tell us what could happen in your neck of the woods.
Sure. Well, I would say in the Midwest, we thankfully don't have as many natural disasters. However, we still have big storms that knock out power lines. We were out of power last summer for 2 days here, and I live in the suburbs. We have tornadoes. I lived in Iowa for 4 years, and we had a derecho that came through there, which...
It's a derecho.
What of a derecho? It's basically a land hurricane. So
oh my gosh.
We had 100-mile-an-hour sustained winds with 120-mile-an-hour gusts that knocked over silos in the center of Iowa. And people were out of power for weeks. So I think the moral of the story is we always have to be prepared, regardless of if we're in the Midwest or Oceanside, California, wherever that is.
So for this first part, let's talk about the fires, because I am the founder of Pet First Aid for You. I'm a master instructor, work with a lot of ER veterinarians like you. I salute your work, as well as EMTs and paramedics and first responders. Smoke is pretty nasty to a pet inhaled, right?
Yes. Super nasty, just like in people. And sometimes we don't see the effects right away either. That's the tough part with this. The other hard part is our pets live down on the ground. They live very close to the ground.
Yeah.
We know cats like to hide. And so once they're left in a home and they're exposed to smoke, are they in there for longer than, say, the dogs and the people? And then oftentimes they hide their signs better. So they may be feeling ill, but because of the nature of cats and dogs, they obviously can't tell us, hey, I'm not breathing quite normally. I don't feel so good.
Right.
An extra.
So let's say you escape from your house. We're going to do prep at later, but this right now, you're getting the tail out of that house with your pets, hopefully in carriers, hopefully on harnesses and leashes. But once you get to a safe place, how do you assess the pet to really see? Let's start with the mystery one.
Yeah, they're a mystery, aren't they? Well, I'd say the first thing is you need to give them a little bit of time to calm down, because if you have just fled your home, you have grabbed your cat that has never left in 15 years, you throw them into a carrier, you chuck them in the car, and all of a sudden you're in a new place, they're going to be scared. They're going to be probably hiding. Sometimes they will pant, which if you watch a cat panting and open mouth breathing, that's terrifying and could certainly mean something is wrong. If it's short-lived and they calm down, it could just be associated with the stress. So give them a little bit of space. If you have comfort items, blankets that they had slept on, have
With
those
their
out
hair
there.
on it, right? You want their hair. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. They're scent. Yeah.
That's a security blanket.
It is. It totally is. We all have them, including cats and dogs. So give them a little bit of time to calm down. Everything we're going to see, though, with smoke is going to be respiratory related, just like in people. So ideally, what we want for our pets, both cats and dogs, is their respiratory rate. So how many breaths they take per minute to be under 40. 30,
Okay.
probably better, but 40. But we need to keep track of that while they're sleeping and extremely calm. So once your pet does calm down and they are sleeping and you're getting a respiratory rate of 30 breaths per minute, great. We feel pretty comfortable with that. But do they have increased effort? So are they really huffing and puffing? Does the hiding last for longer than a day or so? You obviously are going to know your pet the best, but taking into all those considerations, it's never wrong to have your pet evaluated either. So
Right.
if you're worried, give your vet a call. Unfortunately, with COVID, we're not really sure what happened, but the number of pets just increased dramatically. And vets are extremely busy. However, I would say most vets are willing to take a phone call. You can call an emergency clinic, and then there are companies like Just Answer where you can call in and you can speak with a veterinarian on the phone. And so we can tell you, we can tell you what to look for, what to watch for. You can describe your pet's symptoms. You can send us a video. And while we obviously
Let me ask you about that, Dr. Katie, because
Yeah.
we could lose everything, but we won't lose our phone. We always bring our phone. So why is that so important for you and other veterinarians to see that what they're telling you is happening, but you have that short video clip? You love that, don't you?
Oh my gosh. As an emergency veterinarian, that is extremely helpful. I think it's often difficult for lay people, for lack of a better term, those without medical experience, to describe exactly what they're seeing. They can say, oh, my cat is breathing very quickly. My dog is breathing quickly. But some of that is the style of breathing they're doing. What are they doing when that happens? And so a video takes you out as having to describe that. You can just say, this is what I'm seeing. Are you concerned? And it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier for us to tell you, yes, we're concerned, or no, you're okay to monitor.
And in the air, the dog went outside or something, and in the air, there is toxin, medical term, caca, in the air, and it lands on their coats and on their paw pads. What should we be doing to make sure they're not ingesting some of those toxins?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's never going to be wrong to give your pet a bath. Again, you might have a little bit more of an issue with your cats than your dogs. However, yeah, exactly. No, I have been a veterinarian for a while and I don't want to bathe my cats, but minimally rinsing them off, but even using something like basic dish soap to just scrub them up, rinse the debris off of them, including their feet, especially for cats, because they do groom so excessively. Getting those things off is super important.
Because what happens if they ingest it?
Well, it could be a matter of things. I guess it depends how much they ingest and what exactly it is, because certainly whatever is burning is going to be dependent on what falls on them. So is it things like plastics? Is it ash? There's a whole slew of things, and they can cause obviously a multitude of problems. But anytime an animal ingests something that's obviously outside its normal diet, it has the potential to cause GI upset. And even if that's relatively benign in the form of vomiting or diarrhea, that's not something we want for our.
And you want us to bring the vomit in because you live for that, right? No, seriously.
Depending. If it's just a pile of nondescript vomit, then please do not bring that to me.
Before lunch. Okay. But there might be some that give clues in the puke. I mean, in the vomit, right?
Sure. It's never wrong. Nobody's going to tell you, a vet's not going to tell you, please don't bring me the vomit or feces. If anything, we will say thank you and promptly put it in the trash.
Well, we're speaking with Dr. Katie Mercatoris. She is with Just Answer. She's a ER veterinarian. She's based in Wisconsin. When we come back, we're going to talk about what could happen if a cat or dog gets hit by a hot amber, do's and don'ts on these kinds of burns, and how to prepare for a plan, how to make a plan, and how to get the heck out of Dodge. if it's burning. So you know the drill, you all. Sit, stay. We'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard? Four-Legged Life has a new digital newsletter. Here, let me show you how you get yourself subscribed. So you just type in Four-Legged Life, and that'll take you to the website. There we go. And this magic thing just appears, and you type in your email address. I'll use, let's see, how about coolestdogever@gmail.com. That's me. And then you just click on this thing here. There you go. It's the new digital newsletter from Four-Legged Life. Get subscribed today.
Welcome back to the Four-Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I am honored to have as our guest. She's an ER veterinarian. She is Dr. Katie Mercatoris. She's based in Madison, Wisconsin. She's been around. She knows all kinds of things that can happen to pets. And we don't want this to happen. But in a wildfire, you or your pet could get hit on the body with a flaming ember. Ow! So what are some do's and don'ts? Please tell me to let people know why ice is not a good thing to put on such a burn.
Sure. So yeah, as you said, and burns can happen from flying ash. It can come from in contact of hot metal, whatever that may be. Yeah, there's enough, I think a lot of changes too in how we treat burns. I think for a while it was put the ice on it. I would say in general, your goal as a pet owner is to get your pet to somebody that can help you.
Right. And don't muck it up.
Yeah, and don't muck it up, ideally. That's the plan.
But what happens when a hot body meets a cold ice cube? What could happen?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on where the burn is. I'd say most of the time I have people who have put ice on their pets' burns and everything has turned out okay.
Uh-oh.
But it could potentially make it worse.
Would cool water be better?
Yeah, in general, cool water, more kind of tepid, just room temperature water would be better. Okay. And most importantly, try not to put anything on the wound that's going to stick. So that's going to be a big problem. So as you get these burns, you get this kind of serious discharge from them, and anything you put on them can stick. So a lot of at-home bandages we have, unless they have some sort of special coating on them, will stick to a burn.
Ow.
Things like towels can stick to burns as well. But again, most of these are going to show
What about like a cotton sheet? You could lightly wrap in a cotton sheet.
Yeah. And that would be okay in the short term for sure. Anything without really big kind of fibers on it.
Oh, don't do the fleece blanket, right?
Yeah, exactly. And importantly, if the burn has happened, say, the day before and you just notice it, that's when those wounds are going to be weeping after that kind of sticky discharge. And I'd say that's actually worse time to put something on it because it's more likely to get stuck. So yeah, ideally cover it with
H2O.
It's not the worst. I would say if they are actively on fire, then yes, please dump all of the water on your pets. And in fact, at that point, dump ice on them if they're on fire.
We're speaking with Dr. Katie Mercatoris, and she loves her two Maine Coons. She loves pets. She made it her life dedication as a veterinarian. What are some things that we should have right now, no matter whether you're in LA, Louisiana, or in New Hampshire, or in the Midwest? What should we have at our house right now that we can grab and go with our pets?
Well, first off, I think the most important thing is to update your pet's information.
Okay.
So make sure if they're microchipped, that is recorded somewhere with your veterinarian in their kind of your flea kit.
Yeah.
And make sure it's updated with your address and your contact information. And then as far as your evacuation things, make sure you have any medications they need. If your pet is on chronic medications, make sure they have that. Ideally, you'd want to have several days worth of food and water with you. Do you have something you can open their food with? Do they eat canned food? Do you eat can opener? You need things like that. Do you have a bowl that you can feed them with?
Yeah.
And then
those collapsible bowls are nice, right?
Those are great. It's super easy to clean, easy to store in a bag. And then know where you're going and an appropriate way to get them there. So do you have a crate for your cat? I can tell you as an emergency vet, we don't love it when you carry your cat into the vet. I know you're trying to comfort them.
That's a flying a frantic acrobat in your ER.
I have a very calm 16-year-old Maine Coons, but I can promise you they would be, flying through the air if I tried to carry them in, especially when I'm in a panic.
Yes,
so make sure you
they
have
read
brakes,
that.
you have a collar and a leash, things like that. And like I said, know where you're going, have a plan, and let your family and friends know what the plan is for your pets if something were to.
And it sounds like they got blindsided in a bit in California, Palo State. I mean, I've been down Malibu Road, and it's beautiful with those beautiful homes, all gone. So in some of those places, there's one way in, one way out. So we need to get out before the last minute, right?
Exactly. I mean, you're better suited to get out prematurely, like you said. The other thing I would recommend is they actually make stickers you can put on your home on the front door.
Yes.
Firemen that say, we have 2 dogs and 3 cats. Please help us in a fire. And so obviously it's not going to be perfect, but does that mean people are looking under the bed then for your cats that have hidden because of smoke? So that can be helpful in any disaster.
There's a lady, she's a professor. She's very committed to keeping pets safe. Her name's Janice Cobb, and she created a thing called Save My Pet ID. I have it on my keychain. So if something happened to me, a first responder would, obviously they look for IDs and all that. It would say where I lived and that at my home, we have 3 cats and 2 dogs. What do you think of that idea too? Have us?
I think that's wonderful. Unfortunately, we've seen circumstances where something happens to the owner and nobody knows to go check on their pets. And suddenly it's been a week and everybody says, oh no. And so then obviously we have repercussions to deal with.
Right. So do you do a dry run, or how do you get the pet acclimated?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a bad plan. Get them used to putting in the carrier and make it a nice thing for them. I tell people all of the time, get your pets used to a crate, because you don't know, A, if there's going to be a disaster, or B, what if there's a medical condition outside of disaster that your pet needs to be confined? Make it a safe place. So
Crate is great.
Crate is great. Yes, people need to understand that. And a lot of pets will just go in there to sleep. So reward them for doing that. And then, it's not wrong to practice how you would get them out in an emergency.
What about some of the firefighters I speak with when I teach my first aid classes? They have a saying, close before you doze. Have you heard that expression?
No, I haven't.
They're saying that if you can, and your pets should be in the bedroom with you at night with the door shut, because you've got a door barrier, because most people's homes are made out of synthetic materials now that go very fast up in smoke and flames. And this is a barrier to give you maybe an extra few minutes to get out to safety. So they say, close before you doze, close that door. What do you think of that?
Oh, I totally agree. And I think pediatricians will tell you the same about putting your human kids in their bedrooms, close the door on them.
You're a mom. I'm sorry. I want to make sure you bring your kids in too.
Yes, bring your children and your pets.
Not just your dogs and cats. No, that's fine. But they've shown it that we live where houses are built with open concepts, and Flame likes that because they can grab the air and make it fast.
Yep, exactly.
How do you tell yourself not to freak out? You got your pets, you got your kids, you're leaving your home you love. What's some things going on in your head that you could offer for people to kind of keep your cool until you're out of danger? Then you can freak out.
Yeah. Well, I think having a plan and practicing that ahead of time makes the game time decision much easier. You know what you're doing and where all of your things are. I think you have to remember is you need to be the advocate for your pet. They don't have a voice and they are going to panic because that is the nature of animals. They will panic and can't stay calm. So you need to be the calming force for them.
What's a good Dr. Katie mantra? You're an ER vet. You've seen it all. What do you do to?
I know. Oh, you put me on the spot. I don't know. You just need to be an emergency vet for 10 years and suddenly.
Yeah. But I feel like you're calm and you're confident. I don't hear a baby talk coming out of you. I don't hear apologies, right?
No, I will say maybe one of my things is oftentimes I will say that's not a in this moment problem. Or even it's not a today problem. I think we have to kind of compartmentalize a lot of things and what can I do in this moment to make it better. I'm not going to solve everything at this moment in time, but what can I do to make it better? And as a pet owner, that's going to be to collect your animals, get the things you need, and to someone like me that can help you out.
And it sounds like it's good to be prepared, like a good Girl Scout woman. Excuse me, a good Girl Scout or a good Boy Scout. And make it fun if you're going to do a practice evacuation, right, with the dog or cat. So that I have a friend in California that has 6 border collies.
That's a lot of
That's
smart
the
people.
Einstein breed. And she has a van. So she has them do little trial runs where they run into the van in their appropriate seat. And she has some muzzles on it color coded because even though they're all border collies, they're different muzzle shapes. And she's got it down to 1.5 minutes to get these brainiac dogs in their seats so she can get away.
That is amazing. Teach my children that.
Okay. I'm not having 6 border collies. Hey, Dr. Katie, how do people find out about you? I know you have an Instagram account.
Yes, I do. I have an Instagram account. It's mostly my human children and my Maine Coons. So if that's what you're into, then you can follow me up.
Well, what is it?
It's Katie_Mercatorus.
Mercatorus. Yeah, that's easy.
It's very phonetic. If once you look at it.
And what made you become an ER vet? You could have been any other specialty. What made it this?
It's the fast pace, and I like being able to help people quickly and animals quickly. I find a lot of joy in being able to move quickly and in every facet, from these sorts of burns to lacerations to even euthanasias. Those are things that are very emotional states for people, and I love working with people too. It's not just your pet that I have to work with.
Yeah,
Humans.
definitely. Yeah, make
So
us
sweet.
better humans, don't they?
Yes.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Four-Legged Life.
Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.
Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.